everyone, this is Asavri here. I welcome you all to this webinar presented by investmentguruindia.com. Today I'm in conversation with Ms. Meeta Shetty. She is a fund manager for Tata Digital India Fund and Tata India Pharma and Healthcare Fund. She has over 12 years of experience into the industry. So welcome Meeta to the show.
Hi, thank you all. Thank you Investment Guru for giving me this opportunity. Glad to be here and happy to take your questions.
Okay, so to start with, IMF says Asia's economy will shrink for the first time in the living memory due to the current pandemic, and similarly, the global markets are expected to degrow this year. So, our viewers would like to know what is your current reading on Indian equity markets?
Sure. Thanks, Sabri. So yes, if you look at the recent expectations from the IMF, Asia is likely to contract by about 1.6% or so. And this will be the first time that we will be seeing a negative number. But it is still better than the developed nations like US and Europe, which are likely to see a degrowth of about 8 to 10%. If I have to talk about the Indian economy, March quarter growth was at about 3.1%, which in itself is 11-year low in terms of the quarterly growth. And our GDP degrowth for this fiscal is pegged at about minus 4.5 to 5% as per the recent IMF projections. But at the same time, if you look at the projection for next fiscal, we are expected to have a very sharp recovery with about 6% growth or so. So coming to the Indian markets, we believe in the near term there will be volatility given the fluid situation that we are in currently, and also because the way the pandemic is spreading. In the short term, volatility will also be a result of sharp swings in liquidity, India's valuation premium to emerging markets, which will in turn decide the FII flows, and also the extent of future lockdowns. But from a longer term horizon, I think there are a few things which should be in our favor, like the structural reforms, especially the agri reform, the domestic consumption driven of nature of our market, the prudent monetary and the fiscal policy. I think all of this should help us to navigate the current challenging market environment. Even if you look at just the agri sector, the kharif season this year should be good because the area under coverage is already up about 88% on a year-on-year basis. Monsoons also have seen a good start, and that should help the rural and the semi-urban areas to continue to outperform the urban market for a while. In addition, we also think that government might take further steps in land and labor reforms, as well as the privatization of PSUs. So I think there are a lot of headwinds in the near term, but there are quite a lot of tailwinds for long term as well.
So Meeta, do you think US could have a negative interest rate, and do you think this excessive global liquidity is impacting our domestic market? Is our current market valuation very expensive?
Okay. So if you look at the Fed's comments, it appears that they are not too keen to lower the interest rate from the current level, which is at 0%. So basically, they are not looking at a negative interest rate, at least for now. However, we will have to keep monitoring their stance. So I don't think, at least in the near term, we are looking at that kind of negative interest rate. As far as the liquidity is concerned, yes, that's a reality. And if you look at global interest rates, so US is obviously at 0, as we just spoke, but Europe and Japan, they're already at a negative interest rate. And this is all leading to a lot of liquidity into the markets. If you look at the FII flows, March obviously was a negative month, but April onwards we've seen positive flows. In fact, May saw a very good month with about $2 billion inflow, which was very similar to what we saw last in November 19. So I think, yes, liquidity is definitely helping the markets. But one has to also remember that it is not only the Indian equity markets which are benefiting. This is a phenomenon which we are seeing across the globe in practically every equity market. So as far as the expensive valuation is concerned, I think we have to look at it in a relative way. So one has to look at the India's premium to the other emerging markets, which is currently at about 35 to 40%. and it's also closer to its average of about 10 years or so.
Okay, so Meeta, you are generally an expert for pharma and IT sector. So this is the probably the best time for both the sectors. What are the way forward for both sectors, and how do you think they are placed currently from valuation point of view?
Sure. So I think both have their inherent drivers. So let's look at them individually. First with pharma. So I think we are seeing the earnings growth tailwinds coming back for pharma to some extent, largely led by improving US revenue outlook, as well as from the cost optimization. So we have seen almost 5 years of underperformance in the sector. And I think despite the rally that we have seen in the recent months, we are far lower than the highs we saw in 2015, both in terms of the valuation as well as the absolute levels. As far as the overall valuation for the sector is concerned, they are inching closer to their long-term average for now. So I don't think that we are very expensive. On the IT, I think it's a structurally very strong sector, given the need for going digital for every sector, as well as practically every segment of an organization. So definitely it has a lot of tailwinds over the longer run. In the near term, though, as things stand, I think there can be some volatility given the headwinds we are seeing due to COVID, because practically every sector, be it retail, banking, aviation to hospitality, large part of the sectors are getting impacted. Some are getting impacted more, some are probably getting less, but then I think for banks per se, some delinquencies may crop up a quarter later or so. So I think that it can be a short to medium term kind of volatile movements is what is expected. On the valuations too, I think we are trading slightly higher than its long-term average. So yeah, I think structurally a very good sector from a longer-term horizon, but near-term can be a little bit of a volatile segment.
Okay, so when we talk about pharma sector, China is one of the top exporters of API and raw material for pharma companies in India. So how do you think the recent standoff at LAC could affect our supply chain in times to come?
Sure. So I think the very recent news is at least giving us some positive, respite. But I think it's a very sensitive matter, and we need to see how it eventually evolves. But if I have to still give you some insights, okay, we import close to about 3.5 billion worth of APIs from the global markets, and about 70% of that comes from China. In the last 2 years, as far as I can recall, this is the third time that we are seeing the challenges around API supplies. And in the earlier two instances, what we saw was the prices of APIs as well as the KSM, which is the key starting material, that both APIs and KSM prices went up significantly. So I believe a similar thing can play if the supply constraints go on for a longer time. On the positive side, one should also note that companies generally carry inventories of up to 3 months. So I don't think there will be any near-term impact, and we'll have more, benefit if the situation evolves positively.
Okay, so can you please throw some light on sectors like specialty chemicals and fertilizers company?
Sure. So on the specialty chemicals, I think Indian players should benefit from the product shift from China to India. So this is all China plus one strategy that we keep hearing and talking about. I think specialty chemicals do stand to gain. Even the Western countries are trying to diversify their manufacturing base from China. I think so. This can be a multi-year structural play. Even the backward integration and complex chemistry players in India stand to definitely gain from this. Coming to the agro side of it, I think good monsoon last year and a good start this year should definitely augur well for this sector. In the current situation, food availability also is a key priority for all the governments across the world. So I think higher stimulus will be channelized towards farmers, both in developed and underdeveloped countries. So overall, agri-input players with better product portfolio and CRAMS model will benefit.
Okay, so talking about the economy, our government and RBI has also taken, few actions. So how do you think that can impact our economy in, coming times?
Sure. So I think apart from the stimulus that the government has announced, which is much required to revive the economy, I think beyond that also, if one has to look at the structural reforms, I think they should help significantly. So if you look at the agri reform, I think it is one of the most important steps taken by the government. And this will also get the government closer to its target of doubling the farmers' income by 2022, which would practically mean 14, 15 crore families having more cash in hands to spend. And, we are a consumption-driven economy. So definitely it's, I think, a very good step in the right direction. On the liquidity side too, I think government has taken steps to provide short-term liquidity support to non-banking institutions. They've also given moratoriums to the borrowers. I think all these will definitely augur well. If you look at the broader steps also which the government has taken, like increasing the fiscal deficit target for the fiscal and also lowering the interest rate, I think all this should pump start the economy. Even the focus on rate transmission is much more now than ever. I think this is also much required, and this will definitely kickstart, and help in reviving the economy.
Okay, and finally, a lot of experts are expecting a V-shape or U-shape or L-shape recovery in the market. So, what are your takes on it?
Well, I think the recovery will depend on how soon we find a cure for COVID-19. The earlier it is, the closer we are to a V-shaped recovery. The later it is, I think the recovery will get pushed towards an L shape.
Okay, so is it like our economy is just waiting for COVID problem to solve, or are there other problems as well that our economy is facing?
So I think pre-COVID also there were challenges on the growth side, and rate transmissions were not happening. So it's not that it's only COVID, but obviously COVID has accentuated the issues that we were facing. But right now, obviously, COVID is the bigger problem that is facing us right into the eye. So I think that a vaccine or perhaps a medicine is something it's very required, and I think it will revive the sentiments as well as the economy will start opening up far better.
Okay, and lastly, can you share with our viewers about Tata Digital Fund and Tata India Pharma and Healthcare Fund?
Sure. So let's start with the Tata Digital India Fund. So if you look at our fund, it is a core sector fund which invests into technology stocks. Well, that also makes us unique versus peers, as other tech funds may not necessarily be a core sector fund. If you look at a fund holdings currently, we are skewed towards large caps with about 70% allocation. We also have a mix of mid-IT service providers and also a few names from the ER&D segment. We think that this mix should help us in generating alpha over the medium to long term. Coming to the pharma fund, so Tata India Pharma and the Healthcare Fund. Again, this is a core sector fund, which makes it a unique one, as other pharma names may not necessarily be a core sector fund. Current holdings, if you look at, we are skewed towards large caps here as well. The allocation is close to about 60% currently. Rest of the portfolio is also well spread between the MNCs, the CRAMS names, hospital diagnostics, as well as some mid-cap pharma companies. So pharma sector, as we discussed, it's already seen an underperformance of over 5 years, and it's coming out of a bear cycle. With the way financials are strengthening, because companies are more focused on improving balance sheets and cash flows, and the way the growth visibility is improving, this can be a decent option for the investors with an appropriate risk appetite if one is looking at a medium to long-term horizon. One thing which I would like to add, which will apply to both these funds. So generally the stock selection is based on a blend of bottom-up and a top-down approach. And as a philosophy, we try to look at opportunities which gives us visibility on growth, but also has some valuation comfort. So we think that GARP, which we call as growth at reasonable price. So we think that GARP as a philosophy generally helps in generating higher alpha over a medium to long term.
Okay. So, with this, we end our session here. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was such a pleasure having a conversation with you over economy and pharma and IT sector. So, thank you so much for coming on our channel.
Sure. Thank you, Asabri. Thank you, Investment Guru team. Glad you guys invited me. Thanks. Just to highlight that there is risk involved in investing into equity markets and mutual funds. So mutual fund investments are subject to market risk, and please read the offer document carefully before investing.